Hello, my name is Brian Oski.
And I'm Austin Morales, and you're watching The Inner Gamer On.
And today we're talking about Ubisoft's secret project, Assassin's Creed Infinity, which will be a Fortnite-like evolving platform. What that is, we don't really know, but we're going to speculate and talk about a little bit right here. So let's go.
And as always, if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and bang that bell, because it really helps us out, and, we get more viewers and stuff, and make more content just for you.
Serve that algorithm. Ubisoft has been busy lately. Not only did they delay Riders Republic and Rainbow Six Extraction to the next year. Well, actually, Riders Republic is later this year.
Why?
Extraction is next year.
But why?
They probably because they're changing all their shit in their company.
Didn't they just work on this the other day where everyone was complaining? They're like, we got to change everything.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
That's why Assassin's Creed was delayed.
Yeah. They're they've just announced, or actually a rumor came out, according to Bloomberg, about a new cross-studio collaborative structure made up between the Ubisoft Montreal and Quebec teams that would be considered something that they're dubbing internally as Assassin's Creed Infinity. And it's being billed as potentially a ongoing game, possibly an evolving platform of some kind. Not quite games as a service, maybe. But ultimately, instead of them having two separate studios that are working independently on Assassin's Creed games back to back, they're going to bring them together to work on titles and content on a more regular basis, is what it sounds like.
What does that mean?
And some people are comparing it to like the likes of Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto Online, something that will evolve over time. So sources say at Bloomberg that Infinity is designed to run for years and would include a number of settings rather than the single historical locations the series is known for. The platform would seemingly encompass multiple different Assassin's Creed games, which might look and feel different, but will all be connected.
All this is in the Animus, right?
Yes, I think that's all still part of the truth there.
Well, easy. Look, you create your own. You go into a lobby. I just spit everywhere. You go into a lobby and you create your own avatar, and you're in this Animus world. And then it's like, oh, which Assassin's Creed? What time of the world do I want to go back and take a look at what's going on? Oh, look at this. I'll go to the Vikings. This is a place Valhalla. Maybe I'll go back to Italy and see what that was like. And then they just continue to add on content.
Yeah.
And then you just go whatever door you want to, and there you go. You're in the Animus.
Yeah, pick your door
all the time.
Yeah, I mean that could be, at the very simplest form, could be the way it operates. But I'm curious to know how they're going to narratively pull this all together, because they've done a pretty good job at narratively tying these stories together. Because what happened in Valhalla, is part of the same story that's happened way back in the days of Desmond, and there's still cohesion here happening. And Valhalla picks up from the events of the previous Desmond story arcs, where a big event happened, trying to avoid spoilers, but spoilers kind of that occurred during those days. And then they are picking up from that point, trying to identify some anomalies and things like that by going back in the Animus. So the Animus now is way different than the Animus was then. You're not in a lab or whatever. In Valhalla, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you have this little portable Animus that plugs in a wall that lets you then go into the space where you're living in a cabin with these researchers, and you've escaped from wherever you were. And it's it's a different, so that's narratively tying into, it's a narrative component. Whereas if you look back to the old days of the Assassin's Creed, it's you're in this, you're a researcher person that's trapped in here that just has to go in the Animus every day and relive the old peoples.
Right.
But I do think there could be some value in this for, if they can pull it off without stressing their teams out, which they already said here that, this change has already caused issues for some Ubisoft developers, with some teams apparently unhappy with the scale of the project after working on huge games for so many years. So that's already a cause for concern, but it's there could be some really cool ideas here if they do have shorter. There's one thing I complained about with Valhalla is it was too long. It was 84 hours I played to beat that game, and that was without doing all the side content. Does not have to have that much content in there.
Please, no.
Yeah. So if they were to like break it up into like shorter, say 15, 20-hour experiences in different areas and stuff like that, that could be really interesting to see them like drop those, like say every 6 to 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Have a new world story arc that you follow.
That'd be sweet.
To pass through.
Yeah.
So when I first heard this, I was like, man, I don't want them to go another game as a service route, but it depends if they're going to do it. Like if it's just going to be like a story that's going to be more bite-sized, but continue onward, could be cool. Because I mean, there's a lot of areas that people want them to go to that they just haven't explored yet.
Yeah.
Like I love to see like feudal Japan, especially after like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Seeing like the era of like with China and like the Great Wall kind of stuff, like back in that era would be interesting. I'd never played Origins, but like revisit some kind of like Egyptian times more than what they did. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do with this, but I just don't know how I feel about the fact that they're just going to go make this a service game. Like, what is it going to cost? How much are they going to bloat it with microtransactions, and how much of the essence of Assassin's Creed are they going to lose by doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think things need to change, and if it makes it where the content is a lot easier to chew on, then I guess I'm down for it. But yeah, that comes with caveats too. So I don't know exactly what. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, what's going to happen with this?
Yeah, because like when they start comparing to Fortnite, I don't want that, because the story there is like very light. I mean, it's not like it's just like how they like do
a story like
it's like an overarching story that continues onward, but it's like there's not a lot of depth to what they're doing there.
Yeah,
but they're always bringing out new content, new events, and things of that nature. Like I don't want them to have like the game centered around like little tiny like bite-sized events. I want it to be big, huge narrative, like kind of what Avengers has been trying to do, but hasn't been able to do successfully yet. Like I would love to see DLC bits, like what they just did with their latest like Wrath of the Druids or whatever. That was like I think a 8 to 10 hour experience. I don't know how long that took them to make, but if that took them like say a year to build, like they could have these massive teams working like every year, just dropping out a new like 8 to 10 hour content piece, and then in between that having like little like events that like kind of keep you in that universe that they built for that duration of time. Could be kind of cool. I think of it more like kind of a Destiny kind of experience, where it's like every year you have a new Destiny expansion, and I feel like that's kind of what they're doing with this, is like making it more Destiny like, but not like all focus on. I mean, there will be gear, I guess, because I mean there's gear in the game, so I don't know how that's gonna like carry through over time.
Yeah, see, that's gonna be complicated if you have different stories. Like,
yeah, because you can't have the same gear sets, from game to game, because like the cosmetics and the visuals all look different. So
unless you have a story with like one character or a character, I don't know how they want to do it. It's just like we're going through time as this one person progresses.
Like the same person, or like they'd be different forms of that person?
Well, I say through time, but like, I don't know, like this person saved this country. Okay, now they're moving over here. Like the assassins group is, evolving over time, and that one person stays with them. So you keep that gear for X amount of time. But yeah, if that's how they're going to have it,
Yeah.
Unless you just pass it on to whoever.
I don't know if that would, that could be interesting, but I'm just worried that would get, you would be limited in how you change up the environments and the settings that you're playing in. So like you could go, if you're, take a Valhalla, for example, like you're in England, and then you could eventually maybe go out into, out east into like the mountains of like the Swiss Alps and things like that, and then out into Russia. But I don't know I think that would be too, I don't know, it might be too much of the same for people. I think like and I think that one of the benefits of Assassin's Creed is that they've introduced new characters in different parts of history that have cool backstories, interesting, like from playing Ezio to playing Eivor now, to having played Connor in Assassin's Creed 3, and all these different characters. Like they all have different unique stories that they've told, but the central arc is back at the Animus, and like it was Desmond. Now it's I forget the girl's name that's in the new one, but like you have those characters there, which isn't a great part of the story, but that's like the glue that holds them all together. But I like that you can play different people in different parts of a story timeline. But yeah, then the mechanically, how does that all change and adapt and adjust from different eras?
Yeah,
Like you can't have a super extensive gear system.
And maybe they've thought of something that figures all that out, because we're just going off of what we know and how they've been developing games, because it just doesn't make sense.
And they probably don't even know yet, honestly. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
I mean, a lot of this stuff, I mean, this is all, I don't know how newly they formed this team, but I mean, Valhalla is still heavily in development. They have Siege of Paris coming out later this year. That's supposed to be like the next big DLC.
Yeah. And
then we don't know what's happening next year, but likely we won't see Infinity until like 2023, I would bet.
Yeah. Because everything's based on like real things that have happened, right?
Loosely.
I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But yes.
Before it was like,
I mean, like the stuff that happened with like, you know, Vikings coming in and invading this territory at this time. Yes, that's what happened. But
yeah,
like Eivor never existed, and
right.
There's definitely a lot of inspiration from all that, which is cool. And that's one of the reasons I like these games is the historical tie-ins.
Yeah.
Because you learn a lot of things about the history of these different eras and stuff. So yeah, AC Infinity coming soon to a handheld console near you.
It's gonna be like Disney Infinity.
Yeah, right. Hopefully not, because that didn't last for long.
No, it did not.
Yeah.